He is one of the greatest Formula One drivers of all time, but Michael Schumacher is also known to be an experienced and skilled skier. He was skiing with his 14-year-old son and others on Sunday near the peak of Solier, close to the French ski resort of Méribel, when he fell and hit his head on a rock. He'd been wearing a helmet. Within 10 minutes, the 44-year-old was airlifted to a hospital in the nearby town of Moutier, before being taken to the University Hospital Centre of Grenoble.
Monsieur Schumacher a été admis au centre hospitalier universitaire de Grenoble à 12h40.
Mr. Schumacher was admitted to Grenoble's hospital at 12:40 following a late morning skiing accident at Méribel Resort. He suffered a serious brain trauma and was in a coma on arrival, which required an immediate neurosurgical operation. He remains in critical condition.
His wife and 2 children are said to be at his bedside, while supporters worldwide hope for his recovery.
I mean, I'm like you. I heard the news, and as I am from the region, I came to see him. But as we can't see him, we'll see tomorrow.
Michael Schumacher won the Formula One World Championship 7 times before retiring for a 2nd time last year. His hospital treatment is being overseen by a French neurosurgeon who is also a close personal friend of the racing driver. Joanna Gajrowska, Al Jazeera.
Ciao Michael, Nico. Michael, dann machen wir von unten. Ja, toll. All right. Bitte.
The ex-Formula One champion Michael Schumacher is in a critical condition in hospital after suffering a head injury while skiing in the French Alps. Schumacher was wearing a helmet but hit his head on a rock while skiing off-piste near Méribel. Doctors in Grenoble, where he's receiving treatment, say he's in a coma, having had brain surgery. Well, Peter Windsor is a leading Formula One journalist and manager. Peter, first of all, what was your reaction to hearing this news?
Well, I think I can sum up everybody's reaction in Formula One to say that I was completely shocked. Shocked because Michael has this impregnable aura about him, and shocked because of the time of year that it is. Everyone's with their families, and shocked because he's retired after it can only be described as a brilliant, stellar Formula One career, and prayers and thoughts obviously with him and his family right now.
Of course, Formula One's a daredevil sport to a certain extent. I just wonder how much of a risk taker Michael Schumacher is within the sport.
Well, within the sport, I think he was always thought of as a risk taker in the sense that he kind of broke the rules many times in the way he drove, not on his own, but in traffic with other drivers alongside other cars. But having said that, the way he notched up his 7 world championships and his amazing run of statistics, he did build up this image of this almost robotic image of somebody who would just be there forever almost. And of course, we always forget, because motor racing is relatively safe now. Formula One is relatively safe. And we forget that behind all that, Michael is just a racing driver that loves the risk factor, loves the adrenaline factor, loves to push things to the limit. And I don't know the details of the skiing accident, but from what I gather, helmet, off-piste, obviously he was going for it yet again, and he does these sorts of things.
Skiing is a relatively safe sport as well, but sportsmen being what they are naturally competitive, aren't they? Is there something of the adrenaline junkie, if you like, about Michael Schumacher?
I think there is, yeah. I'm not sure he would approve of the phrase junkie, but as recently as last year, I know for a fact that he was skydiving just before the Canadian Grand Prix. When he retired for 3 years, he did a lot of motorcycling. He hurt himself quite badly racing motorcycles. He is that sort of driver, but then I think most of the racing drivers are like that. They try not to show that to their team owners because there's so much money involved these days. But if you look at the history of racing drivers, they do tend to push anything to the limit whenever they can.
I know the jury's always out on questions like this. As a Formula One racing driver, he has got to be up amongst the greatest ever. Some people would say he was the greatest, is the greatest ever.
Well, he was a giant in Formula One, and his statistics still stand long after he's been at his peak. 7 World Championships, 91 wins, 68 poles, 77 fastest laps. He still holds all those records. And he was a giant beyond Formula One. I think he transcended the sport because he was one of the few racing drivers that became very well known in the United States as well because of his achievements. And a lot of people at the time, when they were ranking Sports Illustrated, for example, if they'd be ranking sportsmen, they'd put Michael up there with Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali. He is a true giant of athleticism and obviously within his own sport.
But tonight, it's fair to say that the Formula One racing community is holding its breath for news of his condition from Grenoble.
Well, we are, and it's a terrible situation. All I can say is that he's got 2 great things going for him, if not 3 or 4. Professor Sayon, who oversaw Michael's accident in '99, is there, apparently at Grenoble. Michael himself, very, very fit. And to be in a Swiss hospital or French hospital and to be there as quickly as possible, helicoptered to the site, that's also a very good thing. But we all, in Formula One, we all have memories of '75 when Mark Donoghue, the great American driver, banged his head in a racing accident. And he was fine, he was talking, but along a helicopter ride later, things didn't turn out for Mark, and he died sadly. But I'm sure Michael's in the best possible care. And as I say, everybody in Formula One will be rooting for him right now.
Peter, many thanks. Peter Winsor, there, Formula One journalist. Now.